God, we live in a weird time for movies. We're getting like sequels to movies that are like 40 years too late. We're getting reboots that nobody wanted. We're getting adaptations that are just horrible. And yeah, most of these are pretty horrible. And I kind of wanted to talk about them. But then I thought, why not make a video on one of the most beloved animated shows of all time that then got adapted into one of the worst live action show movies of all time, which is now being adapted into a live action series on Netflix. Yeah, why not? Now, of course, I am talking about the beloved Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which then got adapted into a movie that'll truly take your breath away by the great M. Night Shyamalan, which is now being adapted into a live action series on Netflix, where the original creators backed out of because they didn't like what was being made. But hopeful, sure. Won't be too hopeful, but I'm still hyped, baby. Now, if you haven't seen the show yet, you're probably the only one or two left on this earth, so you should be pretty proud of yourselves. But I would recommend it. Not only is it on Netflix and easy to watch, but it's actually a pretty good show, and it would help you understand this video a little bit more because I'm probably not going to go over any plot details, mostly because if you've clicked on this video, I assume you've seen it. But yeah, and the live action series is coming out in like a year, and if you want to be caught up with the rest of the world, then I recommend you go see it. So I kind of just wanted to talk about why the animated show did so well, and what the movie tried to do that made it fail, and kind of just what the live action series on Netflix will have to do to maintain or capture the original greatness. Now I'll be talking about three, maybe? Yeah. Three seems like a good number. Three reasons on why the show succeeded so well, and yeah, I'm just gonna go into detail about them and why the show works from them. So the first point I'm gonna get into is a pretty important one, and one that could be glossed over very easily, but I think it's literally embodiment of the show, and that is that it's just very fun. Fun is a very important thing to have in a show like this, because it can get boring very fast, as the movie could show. If you take the characteristics from like Aang away, it just becomes a very bland movie, especially for a kids show. Although I think it appeals to everyone, it does need a certain amount of I'd say lightheartedness to be able to maintain, I don't know, the appeal, especially to characters like kids, like Aang, Katara. All of them are kids, and they need to be lighthearted, and I think it's going to be very important to capture that, especially in the live action series. Now, I'll say what the animated show did so well, and what the live action will have to do very well, is the creativity and the world building that worked so well in the animated, and this is counted under the fun category, by the way. And this is also where the movie failed, because the movie begins and you're on ice, right? And then you kind of like go on a trip, but then halfway through the movie again, you're back on ice, and it's like, if you haven't watched the show, you have like, you're just thinking, is the whole movie just ice? Like, I don't get it. And the show will have to pull it off very well, and I'm interested in how they're going to do it, and also the creativity behind everything. You know, each bending style is based off of a specific martial arts, and it's just so cool. And I think that's what the show will have to get right, is how cool the original was and how creative it was. So I think that the world building is one of the most important things in the show, especially because it's one of the few things that makes it feel like it's actually could be real. And the movie didn't do very well with it. The animated show, it's one of its best things, and I hope that the live action show could pull it off just as well. The next point I'll make on why the show worked so well is how plot driven it is. You know, especially for a kids show, you will see like specific arcs in animated shows on like a specific goal they have to get done, and they'll do it in like 3 episodes. But there's a ultimate goal in Avatar. You find out in the first few episodes that Aang is going to have to defeat the Fire Lord, and that's what the whole series is based on. Of course, in each season, there's going to be plot points that they have to achieve to get to that goal. But I think it really works in its favor on how plot driven it is. The whole season, the whole show is just them trying to get to one thing to the other to, at the very end, fight the Fire Lord. So yeah, I really liked the plot and how focused it was in the series, especially when you start to think about it. It really is about this kid, and his goal in mind is to kill this terrorist leader. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So the last plot point I'll talk about, which kind of connects back to the first one, is the character development. Now, what's cool about having a series focused around kids, like teenagers, is that they're kind of growing up throughout the show, and as they're maturing, it feels like the show itself is maturing, especially when the show is 3 seasons, although it takes place, I think, less than a year. That's a lot of time for a character to develop. Unless, of course, you're just beyond all of that and you take an entire season, like 25 episodes or so, and then put it into a single movie. That way you don't have to worry about character development at all. Anyways, I'm sure I'm not the first person to talk about how well the characters are, how well the plot is, how great the world building is, how fun the show is. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I think these are some main points on what the live action show will have to get right for the show to really hit well and succeed as the animated did. I'm sure that there's a lot more that will need to happen. Like I think that music is a big one, and I think that the design of everything is a big one. I think casting is a big one. But yeah, these are just some of my thoughts, and yeah, have a good one.